establishment of colonial rule in Kenya, colonial administration, social and economic developments in Kenya during the colonial period, political developments and the struggle for independence in Kenya, emergence and growth of nationalism in Africa, and lives and contributions of Kenyan leaders. Further, we shall discuss the formation, structure and functions of the government of Kenya in regard to the legislature, the executive and the judiciary as outlined in the Constitution. To scramble means to rush for, compete or struggle with others in order to get something. Partition means to divide something among people or competitors. The scramble and partition of Africa refers to the rush for European powers to establish the spheres of influence or colonies in Africa. European powers used the following methods to acquire colonies in Africa. Signing of treaties. Europeans used to sign treaties with the local leaders and also among themselves. Military conquest. This was used whenever treaty making failed. Diplomacy. This is when Europeans used peaceful negotiations to acquire territory. Trickery. This involved luring African leaders with gifts to surrender their territory to Europeans. Company rule. This was the use of chartered companies to administer the colonies on behalf of the European powers. Missionaries. This is when missionaries asked for protection from their parent countries after they converted Africans to Christianity. This process involved dividing Africa among European powers after the Berlin Conference in 1884 to 1885. The terms agreed during Berlin Conference were: once an area is declared as sphere of influence, effective occupation must be established. Any European power claiming any part of Africa must inform other powers. Missionaries, traders and explorers, irrespective of their countries of origin, should be protected by the colonial powers. Any power owning territory in Africa must undertake to abolish slave trade. River Niger and Congo must be left free for all European powers for fair trade. Partition treaties must be used to sort out any future disagreements. The Berlin Conference had the following terms: once an area is declared a sphere of influence, effective influence must be established. Any European country claiming any part of Africa must inform other interested parties. Missionaries, traders, explorers, irrespective of their countries of origin, should be protected by the colonial power. Any power acquiring territory in Africa must undertake to abolish slave trade. River Niger and Congo to be left free for all European powers for fair international trade. The partition of Africa had several effects both to Africans and Europeans. Some of these impacts include drawing of boundaries in Africa, spread of Christianity, introduction of Western education, abolition of slave trade, improvement in agriculture. Some communities were split into different countries. In this lesson, we will discuss the Mandinka resistance by identifying the reasons for the resistance, reasons for Mandinka defeat by the French and effects of the resistance. Resistance refers to the use of weapons by Africans to fight the foreigners. An example of a community that resisted was the Mandinka, led by Samori Toure. Why did the Mandinka resist the French invasion? Several reasons led to the Mandinka resistance. These include to safeguard their independence, Samori Touré was unwilling to lose the Bura gold mines to the French. Samori wanted to maintain economic and military supremacy. He was against the introduction of Christianity to his Muslim subjects. The French supplied weapons to his enemy, Thieba of Sikasso.
There were several factors that enabled Samori Touré to resist the French for a long time. In order to understand these factors, listen to the following conversation where an elderly man explains to his grandson why the resistance took so long.
Excuse me, grandfather. What enabled Samori Touré to resist the French for such a long time?
Oh, that is a good question. To begin with, Samori Touré was a well-trained and an experienced soldier.
Did he have an army?
Yes, my grandson. He had a large army that was also equipped with modern weapons of the time.
Where did he get the weapons from?
Samori was part of the Dula trade network in the Sahara, which he acquired some of his weapons. He also manufactured some from his own workshops.
The French had better weapons. How did he engage them in war?
There are many ways of killing a cat. Samori Touré used the guerrilla warfare strategies that included hit-and-run tactics that are very effective. His ammunition was used only when necessary. He took the advantage of his terrain, which he knew very well compared to the French.
From the conversation we have listened to in the video, we have learned that Samori Touré was able to resist the French for a long time because he was a soldier and had a large army that was well equipped with modern weapons. He also used the guerrilla tactics in fighting the French, and he knew his terrain well. In addition, he had a workshop where he made and repaired his weapons. One might wonder why Samori Touré was defeated by the French. Several factors contributed to Samori Touré's defeat by the French. Among them were lack of adequate supplies, lack of unity among African societies, Samori's Second Empire was open to attacks, the British refused to support Samori against the French had superior weapons, the people became demoralized due to continuous warfare.
The Mandinka resistance had several effects on both Africans and the French. Some of these effects were loss of independence, loss of lives, destruction of property, displacement of people, and Samori was deported to Gabon, where he died. In this lesson, we shall define the term collaboration. We are also going to look at the reasons, cause, and effects of losing